Greetings again, teammates. Welcome to this episode of the LDHR Toolman. You know, we're in the midst of a video series on prioritizing our LDHR ministry, and we've been considering an 8-step process to help us do just that. In the first few steps, a good foundation is laid for the process, and you gather together a group of stakeholders. But it's usually for the later steps that people are crying out for help the most. What exactly do we do once we've gathered the key people together? Well, over the years, we've developed some helpful tools to help guide you through this process, and I want to introduce some of them to you. One of my favorites is the simple Evalu8 LDHR Lite tool, which I'll use today to walk us through steps 4 through 8 in the process. This tool can be found on our ldhr.org website in the Helpful Documents section here. The Evalu8 LDHR Lite tool addresses the key elements in each of our 4 LDHR quadrants, with a page at the end with directions on how to use the tool. The document identifies the quadrant, lists the key elements, describes the element, and uses questions to help identify key issues related to each element. Now, going back to our 8 steps. Step 4 is prioritize, which is dealt with in the next column of the tool. For this step, we're trying to determine what priority each area should have. Now, it's important to try to think about priority from the national ministry perspective, not just from the perspective of LDHR. The directions suggest using the following letters to indicate priority: T for top priority, H for high priority, M for medium priority, and L for low priority. And for areas where you realistically have no time or resources to do this in the foreseeable future, you can just use O. For this step, you should let each person share and support their choices, and then come up with an agreement on your team's priority rating. Step 5 is evaluate, which is dealt with in the last section of the tool. Here we're trying to honestly assess our effectiveness as an LDHR ministry in fulfilling each function. For the rating, you can use a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 representing little or no involvement or effectiveness, and 5 representing very effective. Now, of course, it's possible that the element is not done by LDHR, or it's not appropriate to the country stage that you're in. In that case, you can just use NA, not applicable. Once again, each person should share and support their personal rating, but you should also come up with an agreement on your team's evaluation rating. Next, step 6 is to determine what your next steps should be. For this, considering your team's answers in the priority and evaluation columns will be helpful. Here we're looking at the intersection of our ratings for priority and effectiveness. Generally, the areas that have the highest priority rating and the lowest effectiveness rating will indicate our priorities for next steps. Now, of course, there may be other factors that we'll need to consider, but this is a good rule of thumb. Step 7 is to plan. Here we're asking, how will we accomplish our top priorities? We need to make clear tactical plans that are measurable, observable, and achievable. We've added an action page at the back of the tool that you can use to list your priorities for each quadrant, along with your tactical plans to achieve those priorities. And finally, step 8 is to implement these plans. To be honest, this is often an area of weakness for us. In our implementation, we need to persevere and stay the course. It includes regularly evaluating our progress and making mid-course adjustments to ensure that we're able to accomplish our plans and achieve our priorities. Well, I think this is enough for now. I trust this has been helpful. I encourage you to check out the tools and make a plan to use them to prioritize your LDHR functions. Until next time, this is the LDHR Toolman. Enjoy using your LDHR tools.